going on, guys? Welcome back to this episode of the Road to Redemption podcast. I'm, as always, your host, Cam Williamson, bringing you the Road to Redemption podcast and the Shatter It movement. If you don't know what the Shatter It movement is, we talk about it every episode and everything that we do all over social media. I am the founder of the Shatter It movement, which is dedicated to shattering the labels and stigmas of mental health throughout everyday life. I am a man, so I talk a lot about my life lessons as a man, my struggles, my screw-ups, my life lessons, my accomplishments, everything. And all it takes to join the Shatter It movement is use the hashtag ShatterIt on any social media platform that you use and share your story. That's it. We love you guys so much. We appreciate all you guys that tune in. Head on over to the website, roadtoredemptionpodcast.com, for old episodes and merch. Some of the merch I have on currently. And yeah, let's jump right into it. So, as you saw from the title today, I'm talking about the secret silent killer during this pandemic, right? And everyone thinks they know what I'm going to say in suicide because I talk about mental health, but that's not the route I'm going. Right? You think you know me, but you don't. I'm throwing curveballs, baby. Throwing, whoosh, snapping the wrist, throwing curveballs at you. The secret, silent, shadow killer, right, that I'm seeing during this pandemic, not only the coronavirus pandemic, but just all this terrible stuff that seems to have gone down the last year and a half seems to all encompass a pandemic. The George Floyd event and the war against police and Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Biden versus Trump. This whole thing seems like it was a pandemic. Not just the fact that there was a terrible disease outbreak that killed people. And we're not going to talk about how many people, we're not going to do all that, right? I know that's a whole debate in and of itself. What I want to talk about today is the silent killer of comfort, right? During this pandemic, early on, about a year ago, about March 2020, people started receiving their stimulus checks, right? And when that happened, the whole idea, they even told you, don't take this money and save it, spend it. It's supposed to stimulate the economy, right? Well, people did that. They went out, spent money, bought food, bought clothes, bought cars, whatever they bought, because for most Americans, right, in 1 month, every single member of their household does not bring in $1,400, including their children, right? So people were like, I'm balling. They took a bunch of people, myself included, who is not wise in the way of money management, gave them more money than most of them have ever seen in their lives, and then on top of that, started handing out unemployment money like it was going out of style. So, and then you let them stay like that for a year. Well, guess what? People got used to being taken care of. People got used to sitting back doing nothing and collecting money. What do you think happens to people that go on Social Security and stuff and disability? It happens. It's easy to do. I battle with it. I battle with it myself, being disabled. It's hard to not sit around and get comfortable in the new lifestyle that you have. But we have to take the responsibility of ourselves, right? And if you catch people saying things like, well, I quit my job and I'm just collecting the unemployment check because it's more than what I made working, you got to start telling people like, hey, just so you know, like that's, the details of that don't really matter, but the principles that you're laying down for yourself and your future are very, very dangerous because you're setting a principle in your life that you don't have to work. You don't have to put in any work. Now, I'm not saying you have to go work at Burger King just to make a check, right? I'm not saying lie or falsify government documents either to get unemployment money that you shouldn't be getting. But I saw fewer people than I had hoped during the pandemic actually use the time and build something, create something. I saw a lot of the same stuff. Podcasts started, YouTube channels get started. But more than anything now, kind of as everything's opening back up, and we knew this was going to happen, but now you're seeing the effects of the true pandemic, which is the laziness and the comfort has set in for people, and nobody wants to go work. There's help wanted and now hiring signs on every single fucking corner that you can see. And people are making it a social media kind of cry out to go, yeah, I'm walking away from my job because they treat me like garbage, right? Because of all this unemployment stuff, people have quit. 2 people showed up to work today, and every customer that comes through the line is bitching at me because it's taken forever because there's only 2 of us that showed up to work today. Like, everything is falling apart at the seams, and it's all at the base of people are trying to just be comfortable, right? There was so much, and I know that I'm going to sound overly sensitive when I say this, there was so much trauma that everyone went through. You know, there's a thing called collective trauma. We as a community, the world, each country, each state, each city that we live in, your household, from the biggest degree to the smallest degree, there are things called collective traumas where a body of people and the mass reactions and how it affects that mass to a traumatic event like George Floyd, the pandemic, a fucking election, a very heated election, Capitol buildings getting stormed. Guys, there was a lot of shit in the last year and a half that's put people so far on edge, they're willing to just collect money and stay in the house because they think it's the only thing that's safe for them anymore. People were afraid to go outside. They're afraid to be around each other. They're afraid to see each other. And this is coming from somebody who experiences social anxiety on a daily basis. I don't do well going out in public. I don't do well being around people and being in crowds and stuff. But now, every single person is dealing with this where when they walk in a place, they don't want to look at anyone because they're afraid that someone's going to pop off about a mask, about not having a mask, about whatever. I mean, it's just so tense. And all I see is good people still. I see a lot of good people that are just trying to get by with their lives until the day that our normal comes back and people can somehow find a way to naturally be around one another again. But sitting in our homes, playing video games, watching Netflix, eating bullshit and doing all the stuff that people are doing right now, it's killing us as a society. We're dumbing ourselves down. We're de-evolving ourselves. We're pushing ourselves back 30 years. The only difference is we think we're advanced because we live with our faces in a phone. Because you have the ability to go out and see everything on your phone doesn't mean you're still experiencing it or living your life. We have to make the choice, right? I don't do a whole lot of patriotic stuff. I don't do a whole lot of But when We the People was established, that was the most important thing I think that Americans need to focus on, which is we the people of these here United States, right? We forget that. It's not who the president is. It's not what laws are being made that people do or don't agree with. What are we the people going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to force yourself to get uncomfortable, right? And go and engage with people again? Speak to each other when you see one another again. Strike up a conversation with a stranger. Go out and do the things that are hard again. Get back into a fitness routine. Get back. A lot of people talk about how they've gotten into meditation because their mental health got so bad during the pandemic. Well, now that things are opening back up, keep doing that meditation. Keep doing the yoga. The weather is nicer than ever. Go for a walk outside. Do something that is not your quarantine routine. I think the quarantine routines that we fell into for a lot of people are detrimental and have long-term and lasting effects if they don't do something about it. That's my honest opinion about it. Now, when it comes to the unemployment stuff, if you are fit and able to work, I'm not saying that every person is going to find their dream job, right? You got to go through some shit sometimes. You got to work some jobs that suck to pay bills. If you're sitting around wrongfully collecting an unemployment check, you're wrong. And you know you're wrong. You could justify it any way you want because so many X number of people are doing it. You're wrong. If you're sitting around collecting a check that you did not earn, you're wrong. And if you're choosing to sit around and make easy money instead of hustle and work for something, I promise you, you're going to see the fruits of that. It's going to come back to roost. I'm telling you, ask anybody in the country who's ever gotten shit and have them tell you that it doesn't at some point come back to bite you in the ass. If it's given to you, man, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for you. You have to do something. You have to be actively working and putting your energy into something with a goal in mind for it to end up being successful at all. You're not going to pull off this scheme. And not to mention, let me ask you, best case scenario for these people that are trying to live this way. Okay, say you're getting $700 a week in unemployment, right? $700 a week. Is that the best you want to do in your life? That's the max potential you ever want to reach because right now it's obtainable? For myself, when I find that, like right now, guys, I'll be honest, I'm in a serious rut of comfort. I found that my life is easy. I'm happy where I am. Things are good. And on days like that, it's extremely hard for me to pull this gear out and think of things that I want to talk about because most of my stuff comes from tough lessons in life, right? And I'm not really learning any tough lessons. The toughest lesson I have to learn right now myself, and this is why I'm giving it to you guys, is that comfort is really the enemy of our life. It's not bad to be comfortable each day, like, you know, as you drift off to sleep and whatever. It's fine that we live in a developed world, and I don't ask anyone to develop guilt over the fact that we live in a country where warm beds and running water is possible and other people don't. But I will say we need to remember what struggle does for us. What that feeling of like, I know what it feels like to have to find like $2 so you can get some kind of like a box of food to make. I know what that feels like. To not know where your next meal is legitimately going to come from. I've been there. And I can tell you, when you've lived like that for so many years, it's just straight survival all the time. When you get into a situation where your needs are met, it can be very easy to take your foot off the gas of motivation and hustle because sometimes you feel like you just need to come up for air, right? And I'm not trying to be non-empathetic or sympathetic to people's situation who have to struggle and who have to really work hard and that took this opportunity as it was probably presented during the pandemic to get out of a bad situation, or at least not a bad situation, but just a situation that you don't like. Working at a fast food restaurant sucks. I know it does. I've done them. I worked in almost all of them. Name it. I think Taco Bell and Burger King are like one of the only two that I haven't worked in. I've worked in every single industry of hospitality and customer service, guys. I've cleaned hotels. I've been a dishwasher, been a server, been a host. I've been a manager of restaurants. I've worked general labor. I've worked fucking landscaping jobs. I mean, I've done roofing. I was in the military. You name it, I've fucking done it. And I can tell you, it fucking sucks. Working a 9-to-5 job for somebody else sucks dick. And I'm not the type of dude that understands how people get their rocks off by starting a landscaping company. That doesn't do it for me. I'm an indoors kind of guy, as you could see by my fucking lights and my cameras and my microphones. This is the way I operate. So if you know, right, that you're not going to be a chef and you don't want to learn how to make the best pizza in town, well, yeah, I agree with you. What are you doing flipping pizzas? But if flipping pizzas and making X dollar amount an hour for X number of years is going to get you to a place where you can afford studio time to go record or to buy you that camera so you can start shooting. Whatever it is, do it with a plan. People hate their 9-to-5 jobs when they clock in and clock out of a place just for a check with no purpose. They're just getting that check to pay the bills and stay in the same place in life. And that's kind of where I found myself a week or so ago, where I was like, what's coming up for me? Right? When you have a job, there's deadlines you have to meet, and there's corporates coming. We have this event on this day, or whatever the situation is. But when you become self-employed, or you go on unemployment, or whatever, however they're collecting their money now, that is not the traditional 9-to-5 job, you realize that you have to be responsible for yourself. There's not a manager breathing down your back. It's you. Especially when you're your own boss. It's you. You have to decide when you're going to get up out of bed. You have to decide how many episodes or whatever you're going to put, how many songs you're going to put out, how many art pieces you're going to put out, right? Pottery people. I love watching pottery stuff on Instagram, and I watch these guys. They hustle. You have to fucking hustle. If you're taking these 3, 4, 5, 600, whatever y'all are getting in unemployments, and you're just spending it on clothes and just barely getting by again, you're just learning how to live paycheck to paycheck on unemployment, I'm promising y'all that is going to dry up and leave you in a terrible place. You're going to be back living with your parents because you can't not ball now. And it's a problem. I'm telling you, it's a problem. It's going to be the reason that you watch this country over the next 2 years take a massive boom. An entire generation of people. It was the crack epidemic that did it for our parents. That sent people into homelessness and decay. But I have a strong feeling that this mass of people, this underground community that's living illegally on unemployment right now, when that chicken comes home to roost, and it will, we are going to see effects that we've never seen before. We're already seeing it in how many shops are closing down, how many mainstream, big chain restaurants are closing up. The Captain D's here in my town closed. A couple of the Wendy's around here have like 2 or 3 employees on it every time you go. It's crazy. Sonic down the street only had like 2 people working the other day. We're in real trouble, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget, if you made it this far, especially if you made it this far, smash the thumbs up button for me. It helps more than you guys know when you tell YouTube that you like hearing from us. They're going to let you hear from us more every time we upload. And check out the Road to Redemption podcast.com for all old episodes and merch. We love you guys so much. Love hearing from you in the comments in the DM box at Cam Williamson Official on Instagram, and we will check in with y'all next week. Love you so much.